Hello and welcome to the New Haven Independent Vlog News Summary, direct from our HR department and corporate cafeteria, otherwise known as my compost heap. Let's see what stories we're working on this week. Check out this percolator and all the hot water is getting into it. Well, 5 New Haven cops got in even more hot water this week. The state arrested them on criminal charges for the mistreatment of Randy Cox, a man in their custody in a prison conveyance van in lockup who was sent to the hospital and paralyzed. Now, because that arrest was made, this New Haven Police Department is going on with its own investigation. You can bet they're not going to be cops again in New Haven. And on day 3 of that incident, we got all the information, video and everything, so that we weren't arguing in New Haven about what happened and trying to keep police accountable. That made me think back to when I began reporting on police in the beat-down posse era in New Haven, the Malik Jones case. This would have never happened back then. There was all this injustice then, there is now, but back then police were not held accountable the same way and the state would never have prosecuted. What changed? The prosecutors and the officials in charge back then were also good people, smart people, but what we demanded in our society insisted on happening was different. It took grassroots political organizing and advocacy week after week, month after month, with a goal in mind to change how we do things, and change still needs to be done. I think that headline says something about the arc of history, as did others this week. This week, Judge John Olander, one of our great judges, he ordered a new trial for Adam Carmen. He spent 28 years in prison for committing one of our most notorious murders of an 8-month-old baby, Danielle Monique Taft. It turns out the state held back all sorts of evidence that would have prevented him from being convicted, the judge said. That happened all the time before. But now this judge said you gotta free him. We know there are a lot of cases like that. There are more judges like Olander, more cases where that's happening, and there's more work to be done. The arc of history, and it happened because of demands day after day, week after week, at the grassroots, the political organizing and advocacy to make that happen. Here's $10. We're giving $10 and change every hour now for extra duty performed by paraprofessionals in our schools who are underpaid, work hard. And how did that happen again? Not because of the goodness of anyone's heart, but because of organizing and advocacy with an eye on the prize. Here's some tension tamer tea who's gonna make us feel better. There was tension taming going on all over this city anew this month. By the end of November, 60 cases have been dealt with by our new crisis response team. Social workers and mental health professionals who go out on calls now with cops later instead of them, when people facing mental challenges are in trouble, and instead of having it lead to escalate to arrest, they were sent to soup kitchens, the programs where they need help, and shelters. It's not perfect, but it's progress that happened because of the work day in, day out, demanding change. Speaking of which, love was legalized for the second time at the national level this week. The Senate and the House in D.C. codified gay marriage. Now you remember, back in those days we started reporting all this stuff about criminal justice, also with civil rights. We would never imagine gay marriage to be legalized, and the Supreme Court did it. And with those 2 steps forward, there was 1 step back, the reaction against LGBTQ couples and individuals in this country. But we kept going. Who would have ever thought that Congress would have done it? So, I think what the headlines are telling us, I would suggest, is that the arc of history bends towards justice, but we have to bend it, suggesting that our purpose on earth here is not just to love each other, but to work together to bend that arc. Until next time, this is the New Haven Independent Vlog News Summary. And remember, please always pick up your trash.